Hello, my friends and my fellow automation engineers, and welcome to a new famous requested engine replica in automation game. So I've received a requested video or requested comment a while ago, and I apologize because I forgot the name of the viewer that actually requested this engine. But he requested, and I quote here, the Chevrolet LS3 engine replica in automation game. And I have to tell you, this engine, it's not an easy engine to replicate. I mean, this engine is a very, very simple and a very, very awesome and working horse engine in real life. It's very reliable, it's sporty, it's powerful, it's torquey. It's the best thing you can ever put in any car. If you are looking for simple engineering and simple horsepower that will work, I mean, just you turn the key and there you go, you have horsepower. That's the simple solution. And I love this engine so much because I've seen it in real life and I've driven a car in real life with this engine in it, and it's really, really brilliant. And it's really torquey, powerful, and blah blah blah, all that's nonsense. But of course, I'm gonna be talking about the the challenging things that I got when I was recreating a replica engine in automation game, and we will be talking, of course, about the performance and everything. So, of course, as always, enjoy the video and tell me what do you think about this engine in the comment section below. And if I made any mistake, I would love to know that in the comment section, or if you have an info on the engine, or something special to tell me about this engine, also I would love to know that in the comment section below. All right, so let's begin. This engine started in life all the way back in 2008, and this engine went in many vehicles, Corvettes, Camaros, I don't know. This engine went in many vehicles and went in many versions, starting of course from basic 426 horsepower all the way to 436 horsepower, and it ranged with many upgrades and components and all that crazy things. All right, so let's start with this engine. It's a V90 degrees V8 engine, obviously. This engine, it has an aluminum block, 103.2 millimeters on the bore and 92.1 millimeters on the stroke. Now, of course, many of you will say this engine, I mean, the stroke is wrong in this engine because in real life, it's 92 exactly, not 92.1. And the reason that I went 92.1 because in real life, this engine has 103.25 millimeters on the bore, and unfortunately in automation game I can't select 103.25. I can only go zero point 0.2 or 0.3. That's it. I can't go the 25 or 24 and that all that crazy nonsense. And the capacity or the cc capacity, it will be different. So if I want to keep the engine 100% stock, or not 100% stock, or as close as the real one, like 92 exactly, the cc capacity will be 6156. This is not realistic because the real engine has 6162 cc in real life. So the closest thing that I got with the bore and stroke, 63. That's the closest thing that I got. Unfortunately, that was the first challenge that I faced with this engine of course in automation game. So as you can see, this engine of course has overhead valves or push rod system, which is a classic system, but it works in real life, and Chevrolet is using it till this day with all of its V8, and it works perfectly. It makes a great amount of horsepower, torque, a nice amount of performance, and it works perfectly, and it's simple engineering, which is really good. It has aluminum cylinder heads also, of course, no VVL, overhead valve, old school system. Yeah, moving on. So the version that I've chosen here is the Camaro SS stock version in 2017 model, because there is also a Grand Sport Corvette version which has forged steel crankshaft. But with the Camaro, this engine has cast iron crankshaft. So the crankshaft, it's different because of the oil pan or the oil system. They call it, for example, on the Camaro, they call it a wet sump. That's how they call it, and it has the cast iron crankshaft. And on the Corvette Grand Sport, it has the dry sump. That's how they call it, and it has the forged crankshaft. So I went with the simple one. So yeah, simple, cheap cast iron crankshaft. Now the connecting rods, they call it I-beam forged connecting rods. And if you remember the old version of automation game, the old version in automation game, we used to have I-beam and H-beam connecting rods. Unfortunately, they have disabled those and they have replaced them with this nonsense here. I mean, I prefer to go back to the old system, which is I-beam, H-beam, connecting rods, because it's more realistic when you are selecting connecting rods, not this nonsense here, which is heavy duty, forged, and lightweight. I mean, if we are designing real engines, we need to have real things to play with, but I think they have chosen this to make the game more simple to everyone. So this engine using a hypereutic, I think, I don't know, cast thing pistons. In real life, it's actually aluminium or aluminium hyper cast pistons or hyper whatever this pistons. So yeah, the pistons, the connecting rods, and the crankshaft are 100% real for this model, which is the 2017 Camaro SS model. As you can see, I went with +2 quality because unfortunately these pistons, the hyper whatever cast pistons, these are not really what you call the strongest pistons. They are a little bit weaker than the normal cast. Moving on, the LS3 has from 2008 all the way to the last model 10.7 to 1 compression ratio, which is, as you can see, it's correct here. I've chosen 65 on the cam profile, of course no VVT, and this engine has -1 quality on the camshaft. So if you want to recreate, this engine, you need to follow these instructions if you want to have an LS3-ish replica in your automation game, if you want to use it in your cars. So you have to use -1 quality and 65 on the cam profile. Moving on, of course, it's naturally aspirated. This engine has multi-point EFI system, single throttle body, standard intake manifold. And as you can see, the intake manifold from the automation developers, they made it extremely close to the real engine, to the real LS engine, which is a really nice touch. I really prefer, I mean, I really would love to see like other shapes of intake manifolds, like if we have like another button here, like 2 arrows, you know, to select different intakes. But for the LS, this intake manifold is just perfect looks for the perfect engine. So as you can see, I went with premium 95 octane fuel because with the regular 91, it's a nightmare. I mean, it's impossible to make the correct horsepower and torque, because look at that. With premium 95 octane, I had to use 12.5 air fuel ratio, which is, I mean, I'm pushing so much fuel in to make this engine works, with 78 on the ignition timing and the official 6,600 RPM limit. So it was challenging. Absolutely, it was super challenging for me to get the exact horsepower and torque numbers. -3 quality because I wanted to lower the price. I want to make this engine more realistic by making it more affordable. That's why I went with -3 quality. Moving on, we have tubular headers. Yes, I know a lot of you will say this engine came from the factory with cast or short cast headers, or cast iron headers. Yes, I know that, but unfortunately also with short cast headers, it's also nearly impossible to get the exact horsepower and torque. I mean, in automation game, it's really pain in the back to get exact horsepower and torque, and I know that. I made so many replicated engines before. You can find a playlist on my channel, watch many previous engines like Nissans, Toyotas, and all that. But yeah, sometimes you have to make some sacrifices to get the correct horsepower and torque. As you can see, I had to go with tubular headers. Dual exhaust pipes, 2.5-inch exhaust diameter, and I'm using the correct 3-way catalytic converters, the same as the original engine. No first muffler and a straight through second muffler with +4 quality, as you can see. So everything seems good. Now we are coming up to the last challenge that I faced with this engine, which is of course the testing. Because this engine is producing, let me show you the graph, 426 horsepower at 5,900 RPM, which is 100% accurate. The torque, on the other hand, which is 420 pound-feet of torque at 4,800 RPM. Yes, now I have a confession, which is the torque peak, because the real engine torque peak is at 4,600 RPM, 4,600 RPM. That's the real engine. I tried like for 2 hours straight playing with the camshaft, the quality, the fuel, the ignition. You can never get the 420 pound-feet of torque at 4,600 while remaining the 426 horsepower at 5,900 RPM. I mean, it's impossible. It was the most challenging engine I've ever faced. I mean, I've made a Koenigsegg engine before. I've made some challenging Mercedes engines before, but this one was the most challenging one to to make an automation game. And as you can see, the RPM limit, which is 6,600 RPM, that's the official RPM limit. It's extremely far from the peak horsepower, and that's how Chevrolet made this engine. All right, so as you can see, we made something extremely close to the LS3 engine. I really tried my best for like 2 hours, but that's the best that I could do, and I really hope that you enjoy this engine. So as you can see, look at that, the power is good, the torque is perfect, everything is good. The engine is somehow smooth, it's responsive, it's sporty, noisy. As you can see, the noise is sporty, it's not really quiet, and it's not really loud. It's super reliable. Look at that, 75.6 points. It's super reliable, it's powerful, it's torquey. It's not really what you call the efficient, but 13% for a 6.2 liter V8, I consider it a very, very nice thing. As you can see, the emissions are low. The production unit engineering time are not bad, really. 200 kilogram is the engine weight. I mean, it's good. I mean, all the numbers are just perfect. And this engine works in BeamNG.Drive. I mean, like a butter, like a dream. This engine, just put it in any car, in an SUV, in a coupe, in a family sedan, in a pickup truck, in anything. You can put this engine in absolutely every car, and it will work like a monster. Even in a heavy car, even in a heavy luxury car, it will be a nice thing to use. It's very torquey, it's nice, it's just a very, very, very nice engine, and I'm really honored to have it in my automation game. All right, so this is the moment. Let's fire it up. There we go. As you can hear, sounds very, very good at idle, making 263 pound-feet of torque at idle. That's very, very nice. All right, let's look at the internals. Look at that. Look at those beautiful hypercast pistons, forged, or as they call it, I-beam connecting rods. And look at that cast iron crank. I mean, I know the connecting rods are different. They are not really I-beam connecting rods like the real engine, but these are the closest options you can get. Look at this beautiful camshaft in the middle, the overhead valve system, just beautiful. All right, I'm gonna shut my mouth for a bit and let's hear this beautiful V8. Sounds incredible. Sounds absolutely like a dream. I mean, I love V8s. My daily car has a V8, and I mean, I would never trade a V8 with an inline-4 engine. That's my motto. I would own an inline-4 car, I mean, next to my V8 car, but I would never replace the V8 noise with anything else. I mean, the noise, the torque, the shakes, the rumble, the moment when you press the throttle, it's just absolutely amazing. These engines are really basic V8s. I mean, when you look at them, there is nothing going on. Look at the timing chain. It's a tiny timing chain. Timing gear, a single camshaft in the middle, and push rods, valves. There's nothing really going on. It's just a simple V8. Chevrolet took a very basic classic idea, which is of course the push rod, which everyone has thrown this idea in the trash. It was a nice thing to do, but as you can see, Chevrolet took this idea and made it modern, which is really good. No one else ever did this idea. Everyone just moved to a double overhead camshaft or single overhead camshaft and many other things. But Chevrolet kept on with their classic idea because it works. It's very simple. You can find it. You can find many LS engines, LT engines, and many other types of the LS in trucks, pickups, coupes, and some family sedans, and many other sports cars. In Australia, this engine is just, I mean, very popular over there. I'm not really sure if it's the LS3 or other LS, but you get my points. In Australia, it's very popular over there with their Holdens and Commodores and whatever. I'm not really familiar with the Australian models, but you get what I mean. This engine is just legendary over there and in the Middle East and in America especially. I mean, they love these engines so much. So that's pretty much it for this engine, my friends. I really hope that you enjoy this engine. And of course, if you want to replicate your engine, feel free, watch the video, replicate it in your game, and tell me what do you think about it in the comment section below. And if you are actually creating a car with this engine, I would love to see some pictures on my Discord, the link in the description below. Just take a screenshot of your engine or of your car in BeamNG.Drive with this engine inside. I would love to see that, or a video or whatever. I would love to see all that on my Discord, the link in the description below also. So thank you so much guys for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this engine. So don't forget to hit that like button, hit it really hard, get subscribed, share the video if you want to share it, and of course don't forget to check out my Patreon page. We have many behind the scenes and special BeamNG cars on there that you can download. Plus, of course, we have also some t-shirts, mugs, aprons, phone cases, and all that, also, of course, on the BN shop. So thank you so much guys for watching. Don't forget to watch my previous videos over here, get subscribed over here, and I will see you very soon. And goodbye for now, my friends.